All right, welcome to the next episode of Go Bold or Go Home podcast. Glad to have you guys here. Our special guest Dylan, as usual, is flaking because he's scared of losing in our debate today, which is fine because, we've seen his team. We know his decision making. No, I'm kidding. Just pulling his leg. We'll talk about that later, though, how I feel about his team and the rest of y'all's teams and my team. As today we are going to be going through our power rankings. But speaking of power, when I need power, I know I need Arizona green tea with honey. And that is because it is delicious. But again, they are our unofficial sponsor. I cannot stress this enough. Not official sponsor. No money. All right. Anyway, let's get this rolling. So, crazy week, but for me, I felt good because my running backs came back. And I know there's a lot of people that were sweating it out at the end. And thank you, Green Bay. You guys redeemed yourself in my eyes and a lot of people's eyes. But we also saw some big trades starting to be formed and happening. And that's been a lot of discussions. So let's dive right in. So first, we're going to go through some power rankings. Yes, not like last week. Last week I gave predictions, and we'll probably just change what I do each week, so that way I'm not just going crazy. Because some of us have to work. Not saying anything else. But power rankings. So this is not going to go based off the standings or the scores. This is just the teams I really like and I personally think are the best, whether their record is 0-2 or 1-1 or 1-0-1, whatever it is. It's based on looking at all their rosters, all the trades and moves made today, and who would win head up right now. So we'll start at 12. In the last place, shocker, James. I'm sorry, James, but always next year. Oh, you got a top pick this time, so we're proud of you. Keep that pick. Don't let anyone trade for it unless they're giving you like Christian McCaffrey for it. Wink. You should ask for that. Just saying. Dylan, you are number 11, but I do have you trending up because I think it was a fair trade. You got a receiver for a running back you didn't need. I think that was important. So definitely glad you were able to do that. Now, when it comes to the rest of your team, I think you're going to need to make a couple more trades. So hopefully you can get on that, because otherwise you might sit out of the playoffs. And I know I was high on you. I still like to see your team improve, but your team hasn't put it together on the field. All right, Hayden, you are number 10. I have you trending down. Your team has not done as great as I would have liked. It didn't help that Dak put up a fantasy stinker last week. And Tyson Williams, I think his fantasy upside is very low. I know he's on a high power running offense, but there's a reason he was the third string running back. Now, what I would like to see is you not starting Corey Davis. I think you have two receivers there, Marvin Jones and Antonio Brown, that could easily be your flex receiver and get you way more points. But yeah, if that gets fixed and you don't have Tyreek and Dak putting up stinkers like they did last week, I think you'll be back to trending up. But right now, I have you in 10th and trending down. Aaron, number 9, I have you trending up. Yes, I did not think your team was that good this year because you made some very, let's call it questionable draft picks. If we look at it, let's look at your team here. I mean, one, you took Terry instead of Calvin, which, may work out. It's still early, and he's done really well. Like, he went off this week. But again, still a shocker. Mike Davis hasn't really done great because he's on the Falcons. And you had a good week from Zeke, so that was helpful, but it's not going to be every week thing, and we've seen that with the Cowboys. It's going to depend. And I think the rest of your team's got some good pieces, though, so I do think you're trending up. Team will get better as time goes on, And I think Terry's going to be getting a lot of touches, so the PPR points are going to help you as well. And it's nice to see Devontae doing well again. Now, let's move to number 8. Number 8, Steven. Now, we made a big trade today. I think that might help you a lot. I have you trending up as well. And that's because you fixed your quarterback problem. So that's already going to put you competing. You're already moved into one of my top teams and what I'm expecting to be at the midseason, which previewed in next week's podcast. We're going to be going through my projections of the final end of the season records. So I'll be predicting win-losses, looking at the schedule over the week and seeing who I think wins, who I think loses. But while I look at it, I do see that Russell Wilson is going to be an upgrade for you. And I think Waddle will be a good bench receiver that you could throw in here and there depending on the matchup. But Cooper Kupp, your team is going to go as long as Cooper Kupp goes. That man is a monster this season. He's averaging 26 points. 26 points. It's ridiculous. I mean, we knew he would be good, but not that good. So, as long as he's scoring, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Now, obviously, it would be nice if Alvin Kamara doesn't put up a stinker every week. I think, though, the Saints are going to be hit and miss every week because that's the Jameis Winston football. Is 1 week they're unbeatable and the other week they're turning the ball over and not doing anything. So it'll be a lot of head scratchers and yelling for you this season. Alright, number 7, I have Clint. Clint, your team is also trending up in my eyes. I think you have a solid team. Of course, you're 0-1-1, so you have one of our ties. And I mean, your points you've been putting up are solid. Like you should have a better record. I think we tied that first week, if I'm not mistaken. No, you tied. Let's see. No, it was us. Yeah. So it was one of those matches where could have gone either way. Probably should have won. I don't know how I came back, but yeah. And Kyler Murray is looking like playing out of his mind this year. So you have that going for you. I don't think Jonathan Taylor's going to stink it up, especially now that Wentz is out. They're going to be having a pound of rock. And I'm pretty sure Robert Woods will start producing as well for you. Though I'm biased. I think air raid offense over there in Cincinnati, which is why I was high on Higgins. We'll get to that later. But I definitely think Tyler Boyd is someone you could look at flexing in there as well for Robert. Especially with Deontay Johnson being injured and possibly not playing next week. Who knows? Alright, going to number 6. Number 6 is Mr. John. And John, I have you trending downwards. Well, to be honest, you are playing me this week, so I could also be biased and just hopeful that you're trending downwards for that reason. But I also think that Jalen Hurts had that really good first week. He started, he did well last week, but I think he's going to start cooling off because I still sit there and I look at him and I just don't see him as a franchise starting quarterback. Maybe that's me also being a Cowboys fan, but I see a guy that's going to try and run a lot, but he's not Lamar Jackson, so they'll be able to figure him out and contain him pretty well, and I actually expect that to happen this week with the underrated Cowboys defense. Also, Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon, you're going to go as far as your running backs go, and we saw last week Joe Mixon struggled, so if he struggles, your team's going to struggle a little bit. And we also have your weak spot at wide receiver with the fact that they're both Seattle wide receivers. So not both of them, I don't think, are going to go off every week. They're going to be still in for each other, as we see where Tyler Lockett is getting a lot of the targets and a lot of the points, and DK Metcalf, he's coasting. He's just chilling there. But I think if we're starting Aaron Rodgers, now that he's back at being Aaron Rodgers, I think him, and then with William Fuller coming back, your team will be solid. And I mean, also look at the Rugs. The Raiders team looks great on offense, just saying. But again, I have you trending down just slightly because I had you earlier being at like a top 4 team. So now I have you around top 6. So it's still not awful. Still playoffs. Now, number 5. Number 5, Andre's team. I have Andre trending down as well. Reason being, Mr. Andre, your team, I had you as a top 2 team. I didn't like my team at the beginning of the year. I never liked my team at the beginning of the year. So I had you and Ben at the top of my preseason list. And I mean, Lamar is Lamar. He's insane. But Urban Meyer just can't figure out how to use a running back, I guess, with James Robinson. And that is hurting you. So I'm starting to take that against you. George Kittle hasn't looked good this year. And you've also struggled with Allen Robinson. Hopefully Fields changes that. But we'll see what happens there in Chicago as we monitor that. But yeah, it looks like there's been a few struggles. And you took that bet. You took Deshaun Watson, who's not playing a game this year. We'll see if you are smarter than the rest of us in that decision, because that'll change everything. Because then you'll have 2 quarterbacks at one that you could probably trade with someone. But in the meantime, I have you trending down just for that reason. But as long as if James Robinson starts performing like we know he can, you'll be back to trending up to a top 4 team easily. Number 3, Mr. Colton. All right, well, Colton, I have you. Oh, wait, I skipped number 4. My bad. So, spoiler alert, number 3 is Colton. But number 4, that would be Jake. Jake, I have you chilling there at number 4 because your team also looks pretty solid. I had yours as a top 4 team as well. Basically, I had my team borderline 4 or 5 at the beginning of the year. We'll get into my surprise team earlier, but you're definitely trending up because you kind of came out of nowhere, if you ask me. I think you drafted really well. Tom Brady is just going insane and playing minds out football. I think Austin Eckler actually will be one of the top 5 running backs in the league. He's already ranked at number 7 out of all the running backs, so kudos there. Melvin Gordon's looking all right. He had an off week last week, but I think he'll bounce back. Pitts is looking solid from some rookie, and then Micah Williams is just, and DeAndre Hopkins at receiver is just deadly. Hopefully Hilaire will stop sucking. I know that's been your weakness, but I mean, you could easily just bench him, and you have Jamar Chase you could put in there, and you also have people like Zach Moss who can go in there as just as easily. And I mean, if you had started the Patriots defense, yeah, I don't know where the Cardinals defense I could see it, I guess, but I think the Patriots defense is who you need to start every week. But I do have you trending up because that team is scary. But the receiver depth and Tom Brady playing like he's 25. All right, so spoiler alert, the next team is going to be Colton. Because Colton, I really like your team. I've been trying to trade with you all year, and I know we've come close on a few, but I mean, your team is pretty stacked. Your only problem, and this is why I have you trending down, is Saquon has struggled mightily coming back from injury. If Saquon was balling like Saquon used to ball, your team would be unfair. Everyone would be averaging like easily in double digits. Calvin Ridley is going to get you a ton of points now that he's cooking. Sterling Shepard's the only thing that I was like, he's starting. Because personally, I'm a guy that would love to start a running back in my flex, or even Robbie Anderson. But hey, paid off this last week for you, so keep that up, I guess. Good. I just don't think he's going to be that consistent with that Giants defense. But yeah, as long as your team just does what they're supposed to do and Saquon starts cooking, you'll be fine. But till then, you are trending down. All right, so number 2, that is going to be yours truly, my team. I have myself in second place mainly because that first week was a stinker. We all know that, but this last week, I think we saw the potential of what I put together and then made some big trades because everyone's been wondering what I was thinking. I actually was trying to make even some more trades, but it'll probably have to wait a little longer on a few of them as I work them out and kind of let some value rise on a few people. And as you can see, if you look at my team, we have the always great and amazing Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones, who have redeemed themselves and taken themselves off the trade block. And then Amari Cooper, even if he gives me a stinker, my team is good enough to win. I went and got DJ Moore because of my fear with my receivers. That's my weak spot on my team. And if that was enough, I also went and got Josh Jacobs. Who did I have to give up? Well, I gave up Russell Wilson, but y'all will see at 10 o'clock in the morning why I'm okay giving up Russell Wilson. I don't think I'm going to lose that much points in fantasy wise. And I also am fine with Joe Burrow as a backup quarterback as well with that air raid. And I'm also good with Leonard Fournette and Josh Jacobs on my bench, just as they slowly get back and keep getting more touches. And they're going to take over and be strong RB2s, RB1s possibly at the end of the year. So trades, I'll be waiting. But I have myself trending up as we saw last week. Now to my number 1 team. Number 1, Mr. Ben. Ben, your team, I told you today, I think all you need is one more running back, and I don't think anyone could really beat you. If you have someone to put in there instead of Devin Singletary, yeah, it's going to be scary how good your team will be. Now, Singletary's been producing. I'm not taking it away from him, but we also know that he's a Buffalo Bills running back, and he is not the first running back option because the first running option will be Josh Allen. And then he's splitting the running back 2 options between Zach Moss and him. So he did do great this last week, but I don't think we could expect that every week. Outside that, you have Patrick Mahomes always going to put up points. Chase Edmonds, I love Chase Edmonds. I've tried to get him like 5 times, but hey, it is what it is. CeeDee Lamb, I think we all agree, will be a top 10 receiver at the end of the year in fantasy. Cortland Sutton, while Judy's out, is going to be getting all the touches. And Rob Gronkowski has been just, it's ridiculous how many times Tom's going to give him a touchdown. So again, I think your team is top heavy, but your team is still loaded. And you'll get T.Y. Hilton back soon as well. So it'll be interesting to see if you do any trades in the next few days or even tonight. Who knows? But again, I think you just need another running back, and your team is looking great. So I have you trending up as well. So that'll be my power rankings. As we go into the next week, I will say the trades, I'm pretty sure my bold prediction, we're going to have at least 4 more trades. Maybe all from me, maybe not. Who knows? We know I'm trade crazy. I've already made, I think, counting last year, I went and looked today. It was like I've made 7 or 8 trades in the 2 seasons already, and I plan on quite a few more. I've already told people I'm looking for draft picks now. So a lot of my bench guys are open, and even my flex positions. Feel free to message out. I think some other trade targets, though. I think everyone has a team spot on their team that they need to fill, and we now know it after 2 weeks. It'll be interesting to see a few things I'm looking forward to watching. It's going to be seeing how these trades progress on both teams. How Dylan's going to be looking with his risky but bold move. T. Higgins is someone I really like. I know everyone gave him flack in the group. Well, Steven gave him flack in the group. But T. Higgins, he's a baller. He will get a lot of targets. I think he was worth a little more. did try to argue actually for more than just Josh Jacobs, but I ended up settling with Dylan. So Dylan, good debating. Steven, I think you worked hard on that trade as well. I really didn't want to give up Russell, but it was the only way to get that done because you refused to throw on a pick swap for some reason. Same with Dylan. When it pick swap, nobody likes the pick swap, even if it's only moving 2 spots. But hey, kudos to you guys. So anyway, I know it's a short, simple podcast this week. Hope this kind of answers some questions. Next week, we'll do my official predictions on everyone's records. And after that, hopefully we'll have some more guests on there. I'm looking forward to see you guys in. Oh, and spoiler alert, the wheel of misfortune is on its way for our last place team. So I'll show that once we get it around mid-season. All right, see you guys then. Remember, stay bold.